Welcome to Women's Wellness Corner. My name is Dinara. I'm a women's health coach, and today I'm going to be talking about painful periods, why we have them, and what can you do about it. If you are somebody that's struggling with crampiness, painful periods, a lot of discomfort, specifically during your periods, you are in the right place, because I'm going to explain today why that happens, what can you do about it, and what are the things that you can implement in order to have to completely get rid of the pain and discomfort. And I will also show you some of the great yoga poses that you can do whenever your cramping comes on. That way you can alleviate it and just feel better in your body. First, I'd like to start with my own story. The reason I began to do the work that I do today, where I help women understand their menstrual cycle and work with it and support it so that way we can get rid of the discomfort that surrounds around specifically our period, is because I have personally struggled with a lot of period-related issues. It all began when I was in my early 20s. And this particular day, I had to call an ambulance because my lower tummy hurt so much that I actually believed that my appendix has burst. When ambulance had arrived to the house, they have inspected me, and they basically told me that my appendix was intact. There was no problem with any of other organs in my body, and it was just simply my period cramps. I was advised to take some painkillers and to sleep it off. And I was also told that I should count my lucky stars because many women struggle with this issue for many more days, and in my case it was just a couple days, 1-2 days of periods, and I should be pretty grateful. So I began living and believing this thought that being a woman was sort of like a diagnosis, and the painful periods is something that I'm going to have to live for many years. And to be fair, for about a decade after that, I have lived with a lot of pain, with a lot of discomfort, just thinking that this is normal. Only upon discovering my cycle, upon understanding my body, upon understanding how to support my menstrual cycle throughout different phases, and how to support it from a nutritional standpoint, from a movement standpoint, and what sort of lifestyle habits I needed to adapt in order to improve my experience, my period pain has disappeared, my PMS, such as mood swings, migraines, have alleviated, and today I teach and help other women to understand their body, to be in tune with it, so that way they can eliminate the discomfort that surrounds both period and our menstrual cycle. So I want to start off with, if you're somebody that's struggling with cramps or painful periods, that there is nothing wrong with you. Almost more than half of the women suffer with this pain. However, because the pain and the discomfort is so common, it doesn't make it normal. It doesn't have to be like that, and you can absolutely do and take some measures in order to reduce the pain and discomfort, and actually somewhat weirdly enjoy the experience and celebrate your body, celebrate your period, and celebrate the changes that happen within your body. If you begin to support your body with the right nutritional support as well as lifestyle, you can get rid of period pain in as quickly as 2 to 3 months, and it can be a thing of the past. Today, I want to specifically touch on primary amenorrhea. Primary amenorrhea is the condition of painful periods that happened usually within day 1 to day 3 of your period. Primary amenorrhea does not refer to any of the conditions, to any other underlying issues, things like endometriosis or any other underlying health conditions that could be causing the period. Primary amenorrhea is typically painful, crampy periods within the first to third day of your period. And those symptoms can, for some women, be accompanied with diarrhea, with leg pains, with back pain, nausea, headache, and sometimes dizziness. So why are we having so much pain? Well, the reason that we experience so much pain is almost always due to prostaglandins. And prostaglandins are hormone-like lipids that our body produces in order to heal us from injury or from tissue damage. There are different kinds of prostaglandins. There are anti-inflammatory prostaglandins, and then there's inflammatory prostaglandins. The inflammatory prostaglandins are usually the reason for cramping and pain that happens within our uterus. And in order to help the pain, many women tend to reach for things like ibuprofen, Advil, or Tylenol in order to relieve the pain. And it's all in good because it does help you relieve the pain temporarily. However, it doesn't solve the underlying issues of the inflammatory prostaglandins within your body. Additionally, painkillers don't necessarily do much good to your body, and the long use of painkillers in your body can actually harm your body. It's been shown to cause stomach bleeds and other conditions that can easily be avoided if we only implement the lifestyle choices in order to support our body naturally. Birth control is another very common drug that gets prescribed to women in order to help the period pain. In fact, I'm very familiar with it because this is exactly what I was prescribed when I had painful periods. And upon taking birth control, not only is it that my pain hasn't disappeared, but additionally, I began to experience a lot of other side effects and discomfort associating with taking the pill. And whenever it comes to birth control, different women and different body will react to it differently. For some women, it will work and it will solve the issue. Yet for many women, it causes a lot of side effects. We can develop things like anxiety, low libido, low mood, and many experience weight gain. If you're somebody that chooses to take birth control, I definitely recommend discussing with your doctor, with medical professional, the side effects that may come with it. And if you're somebody that is on birth control and experiencing a lot of side effects, I definitely recommend you speak to a medical professional to try to find either alternatives or try to find solution to the problem. So let's talk about what causes these inflammatory prostaglandins. Well, one of the most common things that causes our prostaglandins is actually chemicals. We live in the world of chemicals. Specifically, as women, we're exposed to lotions, potions, cleaning products, cosmetics. We consume the majority bulk of chemicals, and those chemicals get in through our skin and then it get absorbed into our bloodstream. That subsequently causes us to have a lot of discomfort and is a cause for a lot of period cramps. The problem with those chemicals is they're actually called endocrine disruptive chemicals, meaning that they disrupt our endocrine system, therefore they disrupt our hormones. Whenever those chemicals get into our system, they mimic our natural way of our natural hormone called estrogen. They're also called xenoestrogen, meaning foreign estrogens, and they bind to the hormone receptacles, creating these excess estrogen within our body. And given that the estrogen is the growth hormone, the estrogen is the reason that we grow our uterine lining, that's the hormone that typically promotes the growth. Whenever we have excess estrogen in our body, our uterine lining gets bigger. So whenever our period gets closer and our uterus begins to contract, we begin to feel that crampiness that much more within our body. Because the buildup of the uterine lining, the thicker the lining, the more it has to shed. More uterus, there's a lot more contraction, which tends to cramp our lower stomach. Another reasons for the inflammatory prostaglandins that cause a lot of pain is actually our diet. A lot of the foods that are contain pesticides or they contain other chemicals, as well as many meats, the animals are being pumped with hormones that once again mimic our own hormones, creating this excess and causing a lot of pain and discomfort when it comes to our period. Many foods can be highly inflammatory, specifically ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods are typically the foods which list the ingredients that do not exist in nature. Unfortunately, in today's diet, because of convenience, we have replaced our fruits and vegetables and our normal source of proteins with packaged stuff. However, this very same packaged stuff actually tends to create a lot of inflammation within our bodies, which subsequently causes us to have a lot of painful periods. So you want to be upping the amount of fruits and vegetables that you consume on a daily basis. When we think about fruits and vegetables, it's not only the amount that matters as far as we need to consume, but also the variety of it, because the larger the variety of the fruits and vegetables that we consume, the richer that becomes our gut flora. Our gut flora and our microbiome consists of billions of bacteria. And in order to make sure that that bacteria thrives and survives, we need to give it a lot of sources of different kinds of nutrients and of different kinds of plants and vegetables, and fruits are one of the best sources to provide those nutrients and to create that anti-inflammatory effect within our bodies and within our gut. Another enormous change in your health that you can do is going organic. Even going organic for 3 to 5 days can clear out a lot of pesticides from your bodies. And often people say that they believe that the organic foods are more expensive, when actually Walmart has a large selection of organic foods that are very affordable, and you don't need to make all of your foods organic. You can always visit the website called ewg.org, or Environmental Working Group, and every single year they put out a list of Dirty Dozen, which is 12 fruits and vegetables that are highly sprayed with chemicals, as well as Clean 15. So fruits and vegetables that you do not need to buy organic, and they still will be healthy for your body, and they'll still provide you plenty amount of nutrients to create healthy environment within your body. Going Mediterranean, as in foods that consume high amounts of beans, legumes, protein, and nuts, is one of the best diets specifically for the female body, because it is highly anti-inflammatory and it provides us with all of the nutrients that our body needs to produce, metabolize hormones within our body. Our ancestors used to have high amounts of fiber within their diets. Most of our fiber comes from complex carbohydrates as well as from fruits and vegetables. Today, an average person in North America consumes about 10 grams of fiber in comparison to the 100 grams of fiber that we used to consume back in the day. So we have to make a conscious choice in order to bring in the extra fibers, bring in extra vegetables and fruits into our bodies to have better health. Often, especially prior to period, women tend to crave chocolate, and chocolate is not necessarily bad for us. Chocolate has high levels of magnesium. However, it is important that we're opting in for chocolate that is 70% or over. Another important thing that can help your body reduce inflammation and just feel general well-being within your body is adding omega-3s into your diet. Omega-3s typically contain in things like salmon, and we sure have a lot of it within British Columbia, so it's definitely something that I recommend as becoming part of your diet on a regular basis. I wanted to mention about our beloved coffee. There's so many of us there that are coffee lovers to the point of coffee addicts. We love our cup of java first thing in the morning. However, there's been a study to show that caffeine actually affects our period pain. So if you're somebody that wants to experiment with it, you can quit coffee specifically a couple of weeks prior to your period and see if it makes a difference. And if it does make a difference, then it leaves it up to you to make a choice whether you want to have more pain-free periods or whether you're choosing coffees. And I know what I would want to choose, and if you need to find a replacement for coffees, you can certainly opt in for teas, matcha, as well as regular green teas. If you got to your period and now you're experiencing a lot of cramping and now you're just looking for a quick relief, a hot water bottle and just getting plenty of rest can be very beneficial. Raspberry leaf tea is another quick remedy that's good to have on hand that will calm your cramping. And one of my favorite things to do is to incorporate movement. And I want to show you some of the easy yoga movements that you can do at home in order to alleviate the cramping and take away the pressure from your lower abdomen. I hope next time that you've got period cramping, that you're able to implement this easy yoga poses, and by beginning to implement some of the other tips that I have mentioned throughout this episode, that you will begin to have more pain-free, symptom-free periods. I wish you best of luck of this journey of trying to learn your body and trying to learn what's good for you. Once again, my name is Dinara. This was Women's Wellness Corner, and I will see you next time.